Hey, it's Ivy. It's been a minute since I made one of these. I'm on my bed right now, and you can see my little like desk and vision board in the background. Anyways, I was just gonna share a little update about what my latest project has been these past few months, which is a little scary and a little vulnerable, but it's important. So here I am. Um, I guess I will share what it is with a story of something that happened that really kicked it off a few months back. I was staying with my girlfriend Coco in LA, and it was a Friday night, and she had a date, and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go out, but why don't you stay and have a date night with yourself? And here's some amazing essential oils, and here's some Epsom bath salts, and just go ahead and relax and have like a lovely night in." And I was like, on it. So she goes off, and I'm relaxing in her bath, and I'm adding some like orange and lavender, whatever essential oils, and I'm soaking, and I'm relaxed, and I'm feeling good. And then all of a sudden, and this has never happened to me in my entire life, I hear slash feel or whatever, like this voice. And the voice goes, "Ivy, go to the beach." And I was like, this is weird. First of all, it's like 9:30 p.m. on a Friday night. Second of all, the beach is like 10 minutes away. I have to get my rental car and like drive all the way there. And lastly, like I'm in this bath and I'm relaxing, and that doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, okay, weird voice, go away. I'm just gonna keep relaxing. So I'm soaking, and then seconds later, it happens again. It's like, "Ivy, go to the beach." And I was like, okay, well, obviously there's like a message that's coming through for me. So I like shifted in the bath, and I sat down. I had my legs crossed legged, and I was like raised, like opening my palms. And I was like, I'm ready to receive this message. And nothing happened. So I was like, all right. So I'm in the bath a little more, and then it happens like even louder. It's like, "Ivy, go to the beach." So when a weird voice thing like yells at you out of nowhere, I swear I'm not going crazy. I guess you listen. So I like very grudgingly, slowly, like dramatically, like get myself out of the bath and slowly dry myself off and slowly put on my sweatpants. And I'm hoping the voice will be like, "Just kidding, get back in the bath," but it doesn't. So I get in my rental car and I drive 10 minutes to the beach, and I park and I get out, and I'm annoyed because at this point it's like 10:15 p.m. It's dark, it's late, no one's out. The beach is cold, the sand is cold, and I'm like walking to the beach, walking towards the ocean. And I'm just like, okay, what is it? Like, what is this thing that I'm supposed to know? This person I'm supposed to meet? This message I'm supposed to receive? Like, why am I at the beach? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm trying to force it. And you know how when you like force things, they don't happen? So finally, I had this moment of like letting go and surrender where I'm like, all right, fine. I'm at the beach. Like, I don't know why I'm at the beach, but I'm just going to be by the beach. So I sit down in the sand and look at the ocean, and the waves are kind of rolling in, and I'm just like being in the moment. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I haven't seen her for a while, I saw slash felt my like little 6-year-old Ivy with her pigtails like come up to me at the beach. I haven't seen her in a while. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's like another video about this, but I've been doing a lot of inner child work, and I'm a huge fan of it. And I work with it with my clients. Anyways, so little Ivy comes running up to me, and I was like, "Oh my God, little Ivy." And she's like super happy. She's in her little pigtails, and she's really happy. And she's like, "I wanted us to go to the beach together so we could go to the ocean and see the moon." And she points up, and I look up, and there's like this gorgeous, huge full moon that I hadn't even seen until she pointed it out. And I was like, so at this point I start tearing it up, and I'm like, of course you wanted to go to the ocean to see the moon, little Ivy. Like, that's totally something you would want to do because you're 6 and you're very excited and impulsive about things. And then I started like crying a little bit, and I was like, I know that I have neglected you a lot and not listened to you and not paid attention to what you've needed. And I'm going to really listen now. And I'm so glad I listened this time. And thank you for coming back and for speaking to me and for telling me what you need. And I'm glad I was able to listen. So I stand up and like kind of energetically like pretend to take my hand in hers. Like I'm standing up, like holding, I don't know, like a pretend 6-year-old little girl's hand, but which is really little Ivy's hand. So we're walking along and I start talking to her out loud and she talks back like out loud, but I'm like talking both things. So if anyone saw me, if anyone heard me, they'd be like, stay away from the crazy person. But whatever. I was alone. There was no one else there. So I was just like talking to her and she was answering. I know this. Okay. Anyways, I'm just going to just go with it. So I'm walking on the beach with little Ivy and we're walking. And so I was like, so how are you? How are things? And she's holding my hand. She goes, you know, I want you to write a book about tonight. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, I want you to write a children's book about tonight. And I was like, little Ivy, I've never written a children's book in my entire life. I don't know what it would be about. I don't know how to do that. And you know what? Why don't you tell me, since you're the one who wants me to do it? Like, what would the title be of this children's book that you want me to write? And she's walking with me and she goes, it would be called The Little Girl Who Wanted to Go to the Ocean to See the Moon. And I was like, that's a really long title, little Ivy. Like, maybe it could be like a working title. And so I was like, well, I still don't know what this book would be about. So can you tell me what this book would be about? And she was like, I'll tell you, but do you promise you'll write it? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then literally this thing came like through me. Like, it wasn't from like big Ivy, adult Ivy brain. Like, when I was speaking, it was from her and she was like telling me what to say. And again, I can't explain it. And there are some things and some mysteries in this world that are like beyond what the mind can understand. So this was just one of those moments. And she goes, this is how the book will go. It will go, The Little Girl Who Wanted to Go to the Ocean to See the Moon by Big Ivy and Little Ivy. And I was like, okay, she gets an author credit. That's cool. So she goes, the book goes like this. Once upon a time, there is a little girl who wanted to go to the ocean to see the moon. So she ran to her mother and she goes, Mommy, I want to go to the ocean to see the moon. And her mother goes, well, that is silly. The ocean is much too far away. Why don't you go outside, play, pretend the grass is the ocean, use your imagination. It'll be the same. So little girl goes and tries to pretend that the grass is the ocean, but it's just not the same. So then the little girl goes to her father and goes, Daddy, I want to go to the ocean to see the moon. And her dad goes, he's very busy. He's on his computer. He goes, that is not important. Can't you see I'm busy? Don't bother me unless it's about something that's important. And so little girl feels confused because this feels like it's important to her. So then the little girl goes to school the next day and she finds her friend. And she goes, will you go to the ocean to see the moon with me? And her friend says, yes. And little girl's so excited because she's like, okay, yay, so I'm going to go to the ocean to see the moon with me. So she goes home and she starts packing. She packs her backpack full of snacks and her favorite stuffed teddy bear. And then she waits. And she waits. And she waits. And her friend never comes. And the next day at school, she goes back to find her friend. She goes, I thought we were going to go to the ocean to see the moon together. And her friend goes, well, I changed my mind. And she like jump ropes away. And the little girl feels sad and disappointed. So the little girl grows up a little bit and she becomes a big girl and she meets a boy. And she tells the boy, I would like to go to the ocean to see the moon. And the boy goes, I'm not interested in that thing. I'm interested in other things. Come do other things with me. So the big girl does, hoping that one day the boy will want to go to the ocean to see the moon with her, but he never does. So the big girl grows up a little bit more and she becomes a young woman and she gets a job. And she hopes that one day her boss will send her to the ocean, like on a work trip or something, to see the moon. But her boss never does. So the woman works and she works and she works and she starts to forget. And then one night the woman goes to bed and she has a dream. And in her dream, the little girl with pigtails comes back to her and says, I would like to go to the ocean to see the moon. So the next day, the woman knows what she has to do. She buys a plane ticket and she packs a suitcase and she flies far, far away. And the last page of the book is just an illustration. There's a big, round, full moon shining and reflecting over the ocean. And standing on the sand is a silhouette of a woman. And you see her shadow. And her shadow is holding the hand of this little girl with pigtails. So I'm like sobbing. And little Ivy goes, "Will you write this for me?" And I looked at her and I was like, "Yes, I will." And she goes, "Do you promise?" And I was like, "Yes, I will." And she goes, "Will you illustrate it too? Because you haven't drawn in a really long time. And you used to like to draw. I like to draw." And I was like, oh my God, this is a lot. And I was like, "Yes, Ivy. Yes, little Ivy, I promise I will write this book and I promise I will illustrate it." And she goes, "And you promise me you'll read it to me in bed one day?" And I said, "Yes, little Ivy, I promise." And then she goes, "Okay." And she looked at me and her eyes were like so trusting. And then she disappeared. And then I was there like with my face totally streaked with tears in the middle of this empty beach with this moon and this ocean. And I was like, I guess I've got a book to write. So for the past few months, I've been working on the book, and here's like the first like super rough draft. And here's a little girl who's dreaming about going in the ocean to see the moon. And here she is asking her mom. And here's her mom being like, "Nah." And here she is like looking at the grass, like disappointed. And then here she is like asking her dad if he'll go with her. And here he is being like, "No, I'm too busy." Anyways, there's more to it, but I'm writing this book and I'm illustrating it. I have to keep my promise to her. So, I have never done this before, but I'm having a Kickstarter campaign for my children's book, and I'm gonna launch it. I think in the middle of September, my birthday month, as a birthday gift to me and to little Ivy. And I'm trying to raise $20,000 so I can make it. And it's for her. It's for little girls and it's for big girls, to remind you that anything is possible and to remember your dreams. And even if no one else in the world believes in them or supports them, you can and you have to and you must. So, I'm not good at asking for things. I'm really good at giving. But it would mean a lot to me if you would support the campaign by buying a book for like a little girl in your life, or your little girl, or your little boy, you know, just to have. So, I'm in the process of making these things, but I have like a link to a list that you can sign up so I can let you know when it's ready, and I guess I'll share it with this video or something, and when it's ready I'll let you know. And if you have anyone who you want to share this with, you're welcome to. And this is just something that's really important to me, and it's important to share. So even though it's like really scary, really vulnerable, like Ivy's like gone crazy and she's like talking to herself on a beach. It is what it is. Again, like some things happen and they're just not for your conscious brain and logical mind. And this was not one of those things. But it was something that happened and that I've been given and that I have to do. So I'm doing it. Then I bought all the art supplies. I'm gonna like draw it and then scan it and then have it printed and then made so that I can read it to little Ivy and to my niece and nephew and to anyone else who wants to hear it. So anyways, thank you for spending this time with me and listening to my story, and may you make some time to connect with
your little boy or little girl, that little 6-year-old inside of you that's always there, that's always been there, that needs you to listen, to love, to protect, to pay attention to them. You may not have what you needed or what you wanted when you were 6, but you can give your little 6-year-old what they want, what they need now. So it's been a large part of my journey, and can't believe my birthday's coming up next week, which is crazy, but this is definitely like a birthday gift for like my soul. So again, thank you, lots of love, and thank you. Bye.